We had the Waldorf approach, and we found a brief video.
Okay, before we do the video, we need everyone to stand up and exit the room because you're going to come back in and we're all going to greet you because that's how they do it in a Waldorf school. Basically, you greet your teacher, you shake their hand, and you say good morning. So, if everyone wants to leave, come back in.
Sorry, I forgot.
Okay.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. So many teachers.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, class. So we're going to pray before we start. So if you guys will bow your heads. Father God, we thank you for just a wonderful day, God, where we're going to learn a lot. I pray that you will help my students, Lord, and that they will learn everything they need to, Lord, at their own pace. And I pray that you will help all of us teachers. In your name we pray. Amen.
This is just over the Waldorf education.
Waldorf education itself has been in the world and active for approximately 90 years. Started in 1919 based on the educations of Rudolf Steiner, Austrian philosopher and scientist. The movement has grown and spread throughout the world. It has a mission that is unique to each individual child and has a social cause. Waldorf education is developmental, based on a picture of a human being that is not static, but is ever evolving as children pass from birth through to adulthood. The curriculum is designed to meet the child at each stage of development, which it does brilliantly. It also sees the human being as an integrated whole. It is a holistic education in the very best sense of the word, appealing to the child's hands, heart, and head through a sequence of activities. We see children as explorers in the process of becoming, interested in the arts, sciences, math, drama, all fields of human knowledge. We ask them to be active in their bodies, awake in their heads, and connected through their hearts. Through that, we hope that we connect them to a sense of purpose and rhythm, that they can go out beyond the school and have a positive impact on the world.
I found this quote very fitting. It says, "Where's the book in which the teacher can read about what the teaching is? The children themselves are this book. We should not learn to teach out of any book other than the one lying open before us and consisting of the children themselves." This is just some brief history. Rudolf Steiner, he was born February 27th, 1861. He died March 30th, 1925. In 1919, Steiner visited the cigarette factory in Germany. Emil Molt was the owner of the factory and asked Steiner if he would undertake to establish and lead a school for the children of the parents who worked in the factory. Steiner agreed on 4 conditions, and they were the school was to be open to all the kids, it was to be co-educational, it was to be a unified 12-year school, and the teachers have the primary control over the school with minimum from the state or economic sources. Today there are 900 schools in 83 different countries. Steiner believed that the human being is a threefold being of spirit, soul, and body. which these unfold into 3 developmental stages on the path to adulthood. It's early childhood, middle childhood, and adolescent.
All right, so there's some basic principles of Waldorf education. The first one is anthroposophy, and this is the study of the wisdom of man. This is a word that Steiner created to tie into Waldorf education. So he says it is a personal path of inner spiritual work, and it is embraced by all Waldorf teachers. So it's not tied to any particular tradition or religion, but it's something that the teachers use to help them seek truth and help them seek beauty in everything. So the teacher helps awaken the students' reverence for beauty and truth. The second one is respect for development. And this whole idea is based squarely on the process of development. Teachers in the Waldorf schools, they believe that every student, they develop in a different way, and they develop on different paths. So not everybody, can learn to read at the same time. It takes, a different path. And that will determine how they teach. So they will pay attention to each individual child, and they will kind of cater their teaching to where the child's needs are. So that's what it says. Monitor each individual child, and they respect each child and their pace of development. The third one is eurythmy, and this kind of deals with the whole movement in a classroom. So the art of movement, they believe that it makes speech and music visible through action and gesture. So Steiner said that every sound, speech, and music can be interpreted through gesture and body movement. So it also enables children to develop a sense of harmony and balance. Right, here's just a couple examples. Right here, if you're teaching the letter T, they'll hold their arms out like a T because they can visualize that, and that'll help them remember it later on. And again, it kind of helps them develop physically as well. This is just another example, some other letters. Everyone knows the YMCA. Again, just creating the letters with their body, gets them up and moving. And then here's them creating X's. And then also when they're learning letters, in Waldorf education, they believe that letters need to be created with pictures, because again, that's how they believe you'll remember it. It's like a mental imagery. So they do things like make a little river with a letter R, or a bear with the letter B. And the next one is nurturing imagination. And they believe that through fairy tales, fables, folk tales, and legends, children learn to have a sense of an imagination, and it helps their creativity grow, and it just has positive impacts later on because it promotes free thinking and creativity. And also with fairy tales and folk tales, it helps with to know the traditions of past times and cultures, and it helps them explore the different aspects of that. So here's just what the little girl's thinking about, is all the fairy tales that she's learned.
Okay, so next we're going to talk about the curriculum of Waldorf education, which they learn all of the same subjects as a normal school. So history, language arts, science, math are all taught in main lesson blocks between 3 to 5 weeks. So they'll focus on one of these for an extended period of time so that they're able to really dive into it and understand it on all levels. So since this is an early childhood education class, we focus on the primary grades. So in grades 1 to 3, they're learning pictorial introduction to the alphabet, which Dana just talked about with the learning of letters in regards to an image. Writing, reading, spelling, poetry, and drama. Folk and fairy tales, fables, legends, and Old Testament stories, since they do incorporate whichever religion that they choose to study in their program. As well as numbers, basic mathematical processes of addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. They also do science lessons with nature stories, house building, and gardening. As well as the normal things that they learn, they do a lot of hands-on. This is where like the hand part of head, hand, and heart comes in. So they do knitting, crocheting, sewing, cross-stitching, weaving, toy making, and woodworking. And this kind of gives them an extra sense of skills that they can learn in their life, like basic skills that either like a mother would need or a father to be able to really succeed in their life. So we're going to do a little hand exercise here where you're going to learn how to finger knit. So if everyone would take the string on their table, you're going to learn how to knit. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to take the little end of your string and you're going to hold it in your thumb like this. And now you're going to take this end of the string, you're going to weave it in and out of your fingers once, twice, 3 times, and once more. So that on each hand there are 2 loops. Now what we're going to do is we're all at the same spot? We good? Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take the bottom loop and stick it over the top loop. Like this. And that way you have 1 on your hand still. And now we're going to weave once, and then 1 more time. And we're going to repeat the same step with pulling it over our fingers. And that is the basic skill that they learn of finger knitting. So you don't have to keep this. If it's frustrating, I'm sorry. But that's basically what they do in Waldorf School, and that is how they incorporate the hands-on part. So,
Okay. Hello. So I'm going to talk about diversity and disabilities in Waldorf education. I want to read this quote first. It says, "The teacher of a foreign language in a Waldorf school is dedicating his or her efforts to the re-enliving of language so that a true sense of brotherhood may arise among human beings." And so in Waldorf education, they put a lot of emphasis in learning foreign language. This provides sensitivity to diversity, and it's an important aspect of education, like I said. So curriculum for students integrates the study of religion and culture, and also the study of foreign languages. As a result, children learn to respect people of all races and cultures. So just like you learn English at a very young age, you kind of learn another language at the same time. And so you're learning it at the same time, and so it becomes your second language. The main activity of the lesson when you're teaching a foreign language should certainly consist of practicing the language by the way of speaking or singing or playing a game. The Waldorf approach is based on the idea that the primary purpose of foreign language acquisition is to develop the ability to communicate. In fact, they see it as a window into the soul, kind of incorporating, like we said earlier, hand, soul, of another culture. And so because the manner in which we think is expressed through the languages that we speak, we nurture a cultural understanding of other peoples through acquiring their languages. And then with disabilities, Waldorf schools experience success with children who are diagnosed with disabilities because Waldorf teaches to all the senses, and there's usually curriculum or material prepared for children with all sorts of disabilities. In fact, some Waldorf schools will even work with doctors and therapists and different counselors and things like that, depending on what your special need is. They will work together to make a plan for the student, and the teachers will incorporate that in certain lesson plans. But going back to foreign languages, if you guys will just kind of sit around in the blankets. I know we probably all won't fit, but try to squeeze in and find a spot. And you guys can sit crisscross applesauce or whatever you want. Hey, you all fit. Okay, so we're going to assume that we're
that you guys started learning Spanish. So we're learning Spanish. So just bear with me. I know a lot of you obviously don't know Spanish, but I'm going to teach you the colors in Spanish. And so if you guys, we probably won't have enough, but if you will kind of hand these out, kind of disperse them. If you each want to hold one, if you can. And so on the front, it has the color name in English, and on the back, it's in Spanish. And we're going to do a song. So if you don't have one of these, you can do this with me. So and the first time I'm going to do it, and just kind of learn it as you can, and then we'll do it together. Red is rojo, red is rojo, blue azul, blue azul. Okay, stop. Good, this is a good example. Okay, so basically you're using rhythm to help you remember the color in English and Spanish. And so we were going too fast, and so that method wasn't working. So we have to go a little bit slower because this is a mechanism to help you remember. So red is rojo, red is rojo, blue azul, blue azul, yellow amarillo, yellow amarillo, verde green, verde green, black is negro, black is negro, white blanco, white blanco. Anaranjado orange, anaranjado orange, purple morado, purple morado. Does everyone kind of get it? Okay, so that was still a little too fast, so let's slow it down just a little. This time I'm not going to try to do it with you guys. And try to do it on your own. Do you guys need these? Do you want to practice using them? No? Okay, so in Waldorf education, it's a lot like Montessori. So in a way, you're kind of self-learning, and we teach you methods or ways to help you remember it through movement, through songs, through fables. But then you guys kind of apply it. And so let's do it again. Red is rojo, red is rojo, blue azul, blue azul, yellow es amarillo, yellow es amarillo, verde green, verde green, black is negro, black is negro, blanco white, blanco white, anaranjado orange, anaranjado orange, purple morado, purple morado. All right, this time you guys do it on your own. Can you do it? I'll hold up the color, and you guys say the words, okay? So let's start. Good, good. Anaranjado orange, orange, purple morado, purple morado. There you go. You guys got it. All right, and that was just to show you diversity with foreign languages. Let's give those back to me.
All right, so let's now talk about Waldorf and statistics. There was a survey that some professors and people who have made a study, and they collected about 157 people who were Waldorf graduates in 27 different Waldorf high schools. So they looked at the profile of a Waldorf graduate, and 94% of Waldorf graduates attended college or university, 88% graduated from college, 42% chose science as a major, 47% chose humanity as a major, 91% are active in lifelong education, 92% place a high value on critical thinking. And there's a big comparison between Waldorf and the US population. Compared to the US population, almost 3 times as many Waldorf graduates study social and behavioral sciences, about 50% more Waldorf graduates study science and math, and almost 3 times as many Waldorf graduates major in arts and humanities. And they also collected data to see how many Waldorf graduates were in the same occupation, and so it said over 55% of the respondents are in the same job for 5+ years, over 35% of the respondents are in the same job for 10+ years, and over 25% of the respondents are in the same job for 15+ years. And the majority of graduates pursue advanced degrees, and students who are currently in college intended to study beyond undergraduate level, and that's 79.6%, but then 51.1% of students graduated from college have studied beyond undergraduate level. And here is the Waldorf legacy. So as you can see, former Waldorf students, a lot of them plan to have their child in the Waldorf program, but very few actually do not plan to send their child to a Waldorf program. Now here is Waldorf math. And in Waldorf math, they like to call it movement in math. It's because students clap rhythmically through the times tables, and they also use counting shells or stones kept in a special handmade pouch. And here's an example of what it would look like. So can I have everybody stand up and make a single file line, and we're going to demonstrate how to do rhythm in math. Oops. All right. Just stand up and make a line here from here to here. And I guess I'll do it like them. All right, so we're gonna do 20. We're not gonna go all the way to 50, and we're also not gonna go backwards because of lack of time, so we can just try. So first we're gonna use our right foot, and then our left foot. And then we hop, and then we clap. All right, so let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. There you go, and that's how you do rhythm and math in Waldorf. Yes.
All right, don't hate us, but now I need you to come on the rug again.
To the carpet.
It's fun because we're gonna read a book.
But this time make a circle. So try to sit in a circle, either on the blanket or like around it.
All right, so in Waldorf education, they do circle time. And with this, well, they teach in, I don't know if she said this earlier, but blocks of 4 weeks. So if they are talking about a certain subject, they will say we're talking about Little Red Hen, and if all of my curriculum was kind of based off of books like this or books with like stories that tell a point, like tell a moral of a story kind of thing. Then they'll start off reading the book, and then later on they will not read the book again, but they'll just go off of their imagination and what they learned from the book. So we're just kind of starting in the beginning phase of that by reading the book. Has anybody read this book before? Do we like it? Good. Okay, The Little Red Hen. All right, and if I point to something, when I point, say I point to the pig, everybody will say pig, so you'll kind of read it with me, okay? Once there were 4 friends, a pig, duck, cat, little red hen. The little red hen had 3 baby chicks. One day, the little red hen was pecking at the ground. Thank you. And she found some. Good. She went to her 3 friends and asked, "Who will help me plant the seeds?" "Not I," squealed the pig. "Not I," squealed the duck. "Not I," squealed the cat. "Then I will plant the seeds," said the little red hen, and she did. And the seeds sprouted and grew into large stalks of wheat. Then the little red hen asked her 3 friends, "Who will help me cut these stalks of wheat?" "Not I," meowed the cat. "Not I," squealed the pig. "Not I," quacked the duck. "Then I will cut the wheat," said the little red hen. And she did. Then the little red hen asked her friends, "Who will help me thresh this wheat?" "Not I," squealed the pig. "Not I," quacked the duck. "Not I," meowed the cat. You guys are getting so good at this. "Then I will thresh the wheat," said the little red hen, and she did. Then the little red hen asked her friends, "Who will help me grind these grains of wheat into flour?" "Not I," squealed the pig. "Not I," quacked the duck. "Not I," meowed the cat. "Then I will grind the wheat into flour," said the little red hen, and she did. Then the little red hen asked her 3 friends, "Who will help me make this flour into bread?" "Not I," meowed the cat. "Not I," squealed the pig. "Not I," quacked the duck. "Then I will make the flour into bread," she said, and she did. Then the little red hen called to her friends, "Who will help me eat this bread?" "I will," quacked the duck. "I will," meowed the cat. "I will," squealed the pig. "Oh no," said the little red hen, "we will eat the bread." And they did. the little red hen and her 3 little chicks. So I guess we could say the moral of this story. Does anybody want to take a guess? Somebody's got a guess.
You don't work, you don't eat.
Right, you work hard for your food, you work hard in life, and you will be rewarded. So normally Waldorf education, they'll do like fairy tales or maybe Aesop's fables, but for lack of time, again, we chose this shorter book, and we still found the moral of the story in it. So that is how circle time works in Waldorf education. Can we go back to their seats? Y'all can go back to your seats. Thank you for participating.
Okay, now you've got a little white packet on your table, and that's just to make your own textbook. In the Waldorf school, they make their own, so we were going to let you guys make your own.
So whatever you learned today in terms of math, Spanish, knitting, all of that, you kind of write what you learn and what you want to remember so that when you go back and reflect, you know what you learned. Okay, so grab a few.
Yeah, like I said earlier, the point of this whole thing is they don't believe in just like sitting there and reading a bunch of words in a textbook. They believe in, like we said, the creative thinking, the imagination, and again, something that they can be proud of their work. So while you're drawing, you'll be able to, like Elaine said, look back at it and see like the important aspects of the day and what you learned.
This is Dr. Brown's
And for your textbooks, remember you can draw pictures too. It doesn't just have to be all words. You can do anything that comes to mind.
done. Okay, keep working.
Alright, now let's do a thumbs up if it's done. Alright, so majority is done. Good.
Okay, class, so we're going to end with prayer and then we'll be done. Okay? So let's bow our heads. Heavenly Father, we thank you for our students, God. We thank you because we learned a lot today. And I pray that everything we learned, we will remember, and that tomorrow we will be able to come back and advance even more in what we learned today. So I pray that you keep all of us safe and that we will keep learning. In your name we pray.